I don't think of the world in terms of duality. What's up, everybody? So I'm thinking about calling these things where I just talk and I rant about stuff. I'm thinking about calling them Juan's rants. Bear.Of.Wands. Juan's rants. I think it's pretty funny. I'm a pretty funny guy. Today we're going to talk about duality in astrology, using good for bad, that kind of stuff. Um, when I do like my daily astrology stuff, my forecasts and all that, Tibetan astrologers use a term bad moon phase. And inevitably, there's somebody that will say something like, well, but is there really a bad moon phase? Is it really good and bad? Is there. And honestly, when I first saw Tibetan astrology, that was a question that I had for my local Tibetan astrologer. So I understand. And in especially Eastern spirituality, I don't know as much about the witchy stuff, but in all Eastern spirituality, Hinduism, Buddhism, especially Bon, good and bad are not a thing. Good and bad are literally constructs of this fabricated dream reality. And even though that is true, it makes me want to hurl every time that someone talks about how they don't speak dualistically or they're non-dual or they're I'm not going to say that one. Don't worry about it. It was funny though, even though you'd probably hate me for it. I'm gonna tell a story first. So I used to work with people with disabilities. Now I am working towards going full time doing my stuff. I hope you buy my stuff, or else I'm gonna be poor and I'm not gonna eat. So um, I worked with people with developmental disabilities, and we had a uh, agency-wide meeting basically. And in the meeting, we were supposed to write down what we don't like, and specifically what we don't like that the gentlemen that we serve do. And my response was something like, I really don't like it when the guys do bad stuff because I like to see them achieving and doing better in their life. Yada yada yada. It was a positive thing that I was saying. I don't like them doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing because it hinders their future. But when I said I don't like it when they do bad stuff, the agency director so kindly and humbly, I might add, in front of everybody there in New York, of course, said, I don't think of things in duality, in dual terms such as good and bad. Can you reword that in a way that is not so dualistic? And when she said that, and I mean, I have been doing the spiritual trip since I was a teenager, I've been at this for a while. It made me want to throw up. It literally made me want to throw up. And I responded to her, I do not like it when the gentlemen do things that hinder the progress towards the achievements that they wish to reach because it hinders them from doing derp, 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 whatever fancy ass. Real smart ass, because I am nothing if not mature. So, but it got me to thinking because she was right. Like, it is not good to think of things dualistically because then you have some that you're attracted to, some that you're repelled from, and repulsion is the same as attraction. It's just the yin of the yang or the yang of the yin. She was right. But when she said it, it made me want to hurl. That so we use terms as humans like good and bad or weird. Weird is another one. Someone says good, typically they mean if you're a guy, it means something like I met a woman, like a good night. I went out to the bar. I didn't get arrested. I met a really hot woman. I did what gentlemen and hot women do, and we are now getting married or whatever it is. Good evening, right? Now, why is that a good evening? Because his goal for the evening, more than likely, was to feel pleasure. It may have been specifically to find a female to take home, right? So it was a good evening because it helped him to achieve those certain things. It helped, from his perspective, what he wanted, what he finds as pleasure, happened, right? These terms, when we use them, from my perspective, not a teacher, just saying this is how I use them, we have to have words like good and bad because that would mean if we didn't have words like good or bad, then every time that I wrote one of those things, it would be like a mile long. Like you have to have shorthand. You have to have these small little things that we can use that help us to explain things. In the first podcast that we had done, I had pointed out, we had talked about this subject. I had asked my fellow Tibetan astrologer about what she thought a bad moon phase was. And I was really kind of proud of my response, so I'm going to try and remember it and repeat it here, even though I haven't listened to it since I said it. So, a bad moon phase can be bad if we are going through our lives unconsciously, if we are not aware of the present moment, aware of presence itself, aware of our surroundings, aware of the laws of cause and effect, then it is so much easier on a bad moon phase to end up being drawn to the things that repulse us, right? Because you have attraction and repulsion. During a bad moon phase, if we are not paying attention to what's going on around us and to ourselves and internally, it is more likely that those things that we are repelled by will be drawn closer to us. Now, that means on a bad moon phase, when we say bad, when we go through the day, there are certain things that we want to happen to us and certain things that we don't want to happen to us, right? You don't want your car to break down. You don't want your girlfriend to leave you. You don't want, or your boyfriend, or your non-gender specific non-binary lover. You don't want your sink to start leaking. You don't want the baby to fall down and smash its face, right? You have all these things you don't want during the day. We are repulsed by those. Why are we repulsed by those? Because when those happen, it interrupts the purpose of the day, the thing that we are trying to get done, even if it's just relaxing. We want on Wednesday, I want to relax. Well, if you can't go to the store and get your favorite munchies, then the day goes all to hell, right? So an easy shorthand for that kind of thing would be bad. It's a bad day. Now, by knowing that these days are coming, we have two opportunities. Number one, we can just avoid the bad shit. We can, in Tibetan bonds specifically, we have practices that we can do that say, oh, there's more bad shit that's going to happen on this day than is going to happen on this day. So before this day happens, before the bad day happens, I need to focus on protecting myself, protecting my home, protecting whatever it is, protect stuff on this day. Whereas the other day, the good day, we can focus on getting extra stuff, on adding things to our life instead of worrying about things being subtracted. So on a good day, we do positive, we add on, we want to get more. On a negative, we're just trying to stop the negative. So that's one way that we can use it. A second way is we can amplify that energy. We can wait for it and we can use it. We can have, in like a death day is the best one. And I think I was talking about this in the last video, the month woodsheet video. On something like a death day, death ending, anyone who does tarot cards, think of your death cards, right? It's an ending. Ending does not mean bad. Death does not necessarily mean dying. So we can use those bad days, like a death day, to get out of a bad relationship, to kick somebody out of the band, to end something. Because sometimes by ending something, instead of it interrupting our day, what it's doing is it's adding to it in the long run. In the long run, we're gaining more smoothness, we're gaining more ease of mind by using that energy. So if we are aware, we can take those days, those energies, those sensations. You can almost feel them some days in your body. I definitely felt them today. We can use those energies to achieve the goals that we want, right? So we can either try and stop it, or we can try and use it and redirect it into something that we want. But these terms must exist. They are necessary, and they are helpful if you truly understand what they are. And another important point of all this, and yes, it's kind of because I want your money and I can help you with this, and if you hit me up, I'll totally help you out with your astrology. Each day has a collection of animals and elements and planets and all kinds of stuff that are tied to that day energetically. Just because it's a death day does not necessarily mean that it's going to affect you in the exact same way that it would affect other people. One of the things that I have noticed is that on days that are supposed to be powerful, that are supposed to give you this like, I get like spun out of control. I absolutely cannot, like, I can't control my mind. I can't control my attitude. I can't control my emotions. I just get blown way outside of my normal, crazy, frantic way of living that I already have. In case you can't tell, I'm a little bit high strung. A day that is supposed to be more pleasant or good doesn't affect me quite the same way. So I always harp on this. Please, if you're at all interested in Tibetan astrology, either pay attention to the forecast as it comes out and the daily Tibetan astrology that I do, or get your Tibetan astrology, ask specifically what days are best for me, right? Because we can look into all that stuff. Because it's going to be different for every person. But I do try, when I do, especially my monthly stuff, to like give in snippets like, yes, this is a bad day, but either prepare for it this way, or you can use this in this manner, right? Because there's always ways to succeed. There's always ways to move forward. That's the big advantage of Tibetan astrology, is that there is always a way around it, I guess would be kind of a way to say it, but that makes me feel kind of dirty. With the information that has been passed down through this super, super, super old lineage, we have found ways to work with these energies and make it better, I guess. Make life easier. Because that's one of the big advantages of Tibetan Bon and Tibetan astrology, is that it's a tool to make life easier. I think I crossed my I's and dotted my T's. I think I got everything in there that I wanted to. I just wanted to express, I see these things all the time and I'm writing them and I'm like, I kind of feel bad that I'm just throwing these out there, and a lot of them aren't helpful. But obviously hit me up and I will help you with it. I'm not a teacher, I can't teach you any of it, but I can help you as an individual make it through these certain periods better. We are in Penno, well, we're in the shadow of Penno. We're not even in the bad stuff yet. So we're in the shadow of Penno and things get dark. And life in general can get dark. And these are tools that can be used to make life a little bit easier. So I just don't want it to sound like doom and gloom every time I'm like, we have 3 death days in a row and everything's going to hell. Yes, your sink is probably going to leak and your computer is going to stop working. But also, these are things that we can use to our advantage. So, got any questions? Hit me up. You want your Tibetan astrology? Hit me up. Instagram, Facebook, podcast, Life is But a Dream, Adventures in Tibetan Astrology during the time of Penno. Links will be down there. I love you guys. Hope you have a wonderful day. Say your mantra, take your vitamins, and stay grateful, y'all.